So we just talked about working with collaborators and adding collaborators and all of that. Now we're switching gears to talk about these things called README files. So you may remember, and you've probably seen it before, when we make a repo on GitHub, so if I just go new repository, I'm not going to actually make one. One of the options of 3 options here to initialize a repository with a file, one of them is add a README file. So what is that? README in all caps. Well, the README is a particular file that plays a special role on a GitHub repository. And it's not limited to GitHub, but in our context, we're talking about GitHub. It's a file that is supposed to explain what your project does, whether you're working on some API or a web application, a video game, or even if it's just, you're a government using GitHub to make laws and legislate, whatever your repo is, the README file should include information about what the project does, what it's for, who's it for, how to get started with the project, how to run it and install dependencies if necessary, why it's noteworthy, who maintains the project, how to collaborate the project, how to get help. Not all of that has to be there, but if there's important information you want to convey to somebody coming to your project for the first time, then put it in the README file. So README in all caps, you'll see them all over the place if you haven't. And they're very important because if you put a README file in the root of your project, GitHub is automatically going to display it. It will render the contents on the page for us. So when I go to a repository like this, I just opened a couple trending repositories. This one here, Clean Architecture, it has a README file in the root of the directory, and it's automatically displayed for me. As you can see, it tells me the title, a little brief about what it does, a list of technologies, how to get started, how to configure things, how to configure the database, how to migrate, all this stuff. Keep going down, how to support or how to get support, the license that it's licensed under. Here's a different project. Same deal. It's called, Spacey. It's a tool for natural language processing in Python. Again, I just clicked a trending repo. It has a README file. And if I scroll down, that is what automatically GitHub detects and it renders for users coming to this main repo page. So I see the title and all the stuff on the README. There's more information, where to ask questions, how to ask questions, features of this tool, how to install things, how to update, what else? How to compile from source, how to run the tests. Okay, so we're not limited just to software, although of course that's what a lot of GitHub repos are, but the README file, whatever is in it, is going to be automatically rendered if GitHub detects it in the root of your project. Also, I believe it will look in the .git folder, but almost everyone I've seen puts it right in the root of the directory. All right, so READMEs play an important role. It's the first thing somebody looks at when they come to your project. I mean, the title says it all, README. That's the goal, that's the aim here. If someone visits our, let's say React, visits a very large repository, this is like the entry point for people to learn more. And often it should include a bunch of links, learn how to use React, online playground. So this isn't even a very detailed README compared to some of the others we've seen, but it leads to tons of really important information for somebody who wants to know how to use React and how to contribute to React. There's a whole section about contributing, the code of conduct, contributing guide, so a bunch of stuff. That's really the role of READMEs. It's like the entry point for somebody to learn more about your project. And again, we can see the file here. It's just like any other file, except it is named something very particular, README in all caps, .md. So what is that MD? Well, it stands for Markdown. READMEs are Markdown files. If you're not familiar with the term, Markdown is a very succinct, convenient syntax to generate formatted text. It generates markup, Markdown, markup. And in the next video, I'll show you how we can write Markdown, and I'll show you an example of making a README. So that's coming up.